I think we all share the same thought, don't we? That this may take some time. Young quarterback, new system. How long will you be patient before you want it to look good or you expect it to look good?
Good morning, Tommy. How are you?
Fabulous. Bathing in the angst of David Kaplan's Cubs. Angst. I love you, Cap.
Bathing in the angst of his angst. I love that.
Bathing in the angst of his angst.
He has been on fire. It's not just today. It's just during this. Let me just finish the sentence.
Oh, sorry.
He has been in trouble for a long time, and I think that we need to embrace Cap at this time. He's going through a very tough time. Thank you.
I'll hold you if you need to be held, Cap. I'll hold you. The one thing that you said, though, and I have, listen, I think the Milwaukee Brewers are an anomaly. Agreed, guys? Like, there's nobody in Major League Baseball that can do what they're doing or what they've done.
I mean,
recently.
Tampa Bay has gone to multiple World Series spending no money. The Brewers every year have a really solid product out there.
They do. Okay, so maybe Tampa's in the. The one thing I would say, Cap, when you drew the analogy that look what the Brewers are doing with what they spend and the Cubs spend $213 million. The only thing I would say is that the ratio has never worked for me. Based on what the Cubs bring in revenue, which was $584 million, which ranked third.
And I don't disagree with
what they spend, which was $213 million, which ranked 14th. You can't be third in revenue and 14th in payroll.
12th, yeah, I think they're 12th.
Okay, 12th, 13th, 14th, if you know what I'm saying. That ratio doesn't work for
10th.
me. Do you realize
Cubs are 10th.
Do you realize, based on these numbers, that in 2024 the Cubs' revenue was $584 million? They spent $213 on payroll. Do you know what that payroll to revenue ratio is 36.4%. That ranked 26th in Major League Baseball, Cap.
Agreed. And I said I would spend more money if I owned that team. But it is not only about what you spend, because I could give the top 10 guys on our roster a $10 million raise each. And now I'm at $310, and I'm third. And I still am 7.5 up the track. It's how you do your freaking business.
No question. But if you are in the third largest market and you want to compete with the Dodgers and the Mets and the Phillies, you got to act like them. The Mets, in the same comparable payroll to revenue ratio, they spend 90% of their revenue on payroll, and that's including luxury tax, which they were willing to go into. Look, I don't dispute what you say. You got to spend your money wisely. But being in a large market, what it does is allows you to buy yourself out of some of your own mistakes.
Fair.
So you can't look at your situation and have Carter Hawkins telling you, well, we got to make sure the 2032 Cubs are
that might
financially
be the
sound as well.
dumbest comment I've heard from an executive in decades.
Right, and you can't not make deals based on, well, we don't want to give up the control of a minor league player, one of the guys we really like, whose salary is controlled, versus taking on somebody that may cost us a little more. I'm with you guys 100%. You got to pick the right people, but I just think that that conversation gives the Cubs some cover that they don't deserve with regard to their revenue versus their payroll spend. And that ratio has never worked for me in a large market. If you told me they were top 5 in payroll to revenue in that ratio, then I would tell you they're doing everything they possibly can. They're taking advantage of all of the revenue streams that they have. They're third in the market in revenue.
Yeah.
Jonathan, you're outside the top 10 in spend. That ratio will never work for me in professional sports. It may in other lines of business.
I don't disagree.
Well, just to answer your initial thought, Tommy, about the Brewers, it's about the team who is playing the best, not necessarily the team with the best one-loss record to try to get to the World Series. Like, you'd be far-fetched to tell me that a team that's playing at a 26-4 clip or a team that's been 30-7 since July 1st will win the World Series, because at some point there's going to be a downward spiral for the Brewers. And by the way, I mean, God bless them if they can get to 122 wins. I don't think that's going to happen. But what I'm saying is that that at some point they'll unplug and then they'll try to plug it back in. So, you are correct. I made the parallel about the Bears and the Packers. Why is it that the Brewers, small market team, that they won't pay for top-notch talent in free agency, why are they ahead of the Cubs? Makes no sense.
Yeah. That's Jonathan, that's where I said that's kind of the anomaly. And Cap's right. The Rays do something similar. Listen, you tip your cap to them, not KAP, but you CAP to them and what they've done. Now, in the postseason, it's been a different story. I don't think they've won a playoff series since, what was it, the division series in 18? Something like they've played. I think they've lost their last 5 or 6 playoff series. So they haven't had the same type of success when you get to the postseason. But they've, you have to admire what they've done and how they've gotten there. And again, I'm not telling you that being the top spender in the league is necessarily going to guarantee that you're going to win a World Series. But what it does, it gives you an advantage over smaller market teams because you can buy yourself out of some of your own mistakes.
True Fan Travel and ESPN Chicago are teaming up for the ultimate fan getaway to Sin City to see the Bears take on the Raiders in Las Vegas.
You get round-trip airfare, 3-night stay at Mandalay Bay, special live broadcasts and meet and greets with the full ESPN Chicago team, all-inclusive tailgate, tickets to Bears, Raiders, and more to come.
Spots are limited, so don't wait. Reserve your spot today at truefantravel.com. Back to you on the video.
And it's just a matter of how much time as a Bears fan. We've all become patient. That's in our DNA as Bears fans because nothing happens quickly, especially on the quarterback front. But I think the question is, how long will you be patient before you want it to look good or you expect it to look good? And I've heard people, a varying degree of people expressing their patience. And I just want to remind people, I talked about this a little bit yesterday on our show. If you go back to the first year when Ben Johnson took over the offense in Detroit, it was 2022. And I know everyone remembers, they got off to a slow start. They were 1-6. Their offense scored 35 points in a 38-35 loss to the Eagles to start the season. In week 2, they scored 36 in a 36-27 win over the Commanders. In week 3, they scored 24 in a loss to the Vikings, followed by a 45-point effort in week 4 in a loss to the Seahawks, 48-45. In their first 4 games under Ben Johnson as their offensive coordinator in 2022, they averaged 35 points per game. As I said, they started the season 1-6 before they went 8-2 in their final 10 games. For the season, they were the 4th best team in offense in terms of yards, 380 yards, and 5th in scoring, 26.6 points per game. Now, they had a quarterback in Jared Goff who was in his 5th or 6th year. And Ben has even said, I think recently, he's throwing more at Caleb in the Bears offense than maybe he did with the Lions initially. Mm-hmm. I'm being patient, don't get me wrong, Jonathan. But I expect with all the money they've spent and all the currency they've pushed into the offensive side of the ball and the coaching staff they have, I don't expect them to be scoring 15 a game for the first 6 weeks of the season. I expect them to be more productive than maybe some people do sooner rather than later. And I would say we all love to run the football, right?
Yes.
And if the quarterback is struggling to kind of grasp the offense, how about these numbers? In the first 4 games of Ben Johnson as the coordinator in 2022, the Lions ran for 181, 191, 139, and 145. So if for whatever reason you're not connecting with the quarterback in the passing game, this is an offense that's based on running it as well. And you've improved the interior of your offensive line. So I'm not expecting them to light up the scoreboard in the first month of the season. But by the same token, I'm also, there's a limit to my patience. I do expect a significant improvement on that side of the ball sooner rather than later. Do you think that's unfair?
No, but Cap, I hope that the Bears have 3 running backs on the roster that can get up to those numbers from 2022.
Yeah, because before you came on with us, Greg Roman, I was telling Hoodie and everybody, Greg Roman said the days of the one-back offense is gone. It's prehistoric. There's one Derrick Henry. There is one Saquon Barkley. Most teams will have to run it by committee, period.
Yeah, Tommy, because
3 guys.
Because the jury's still out on who are going to be the lead backs here.
Yeah, no, and I'm good with that. I don't care who's getting it. I think DJ Moore's going to get some carries. Monungai may get some carries. Swift is obviously going to get some carries.
Roshan, if healthy.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I'm not as concerned about who's carrying it more than I'm worried about who's creating the holes up front. So
Get it blocked.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that Lions team in 2022. That wasn't Jameer Gibbs and Derrick Emery.
No.
That was Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, and two guys named Justin Jackson and Craig Reynolds.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and the other thing, Tommy, Shea said it, I don't know if you heard it, that they had more touchdowns on the ground last year than any team in the National Football League, despite having a quarterback who understands that system and can sling it.
Yes. No, again, they ran the football as well as anybody in the league the last 3 years.
Correct.
So, and I heard you guys talking about sack totals as well. Jared Goff was sacked 35 times in the 2021 season. His sack totals went down to 23, 30, and 31 the following 3 years while his completion percentage went up. That's how you know the offense is working, because they're functioning efficiently. Caleb is processing. The completion percentage goes up. The sack totals go down. That, to me, is much more symbolic of a positive season versus passing yards and even touchdown passes.